Hello, Caesar here again, and this is part 2 of my Borah Bivy, the Dimma Bivy field report review. I've done a first impressions, and then I took it out and used it overnight, and so I wanted to, as I said in my last video, I wanted to do another follow-up video just to clarify. When I was out in the field, I wanted to save my battery, and I also wanted to get hiking again, so the video was short and sweet. So I wanted to elaborate on a few other things. Now that I'm back, as you can see, I'm still wearing my hiking clothing. I haven't even taken a shower yet. I was so excited when I got home and I put my stuff away, going through my normal get back home routines. I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and nip this in the bud, get it out of the way. And yeah, because I was surprised actually. There were a fair amount of people who were really looking forward to a video review. So here's two. There you go. One in the field and one when I get back home. Now, where to begin? So, as I said on my blog, the real trial by fire, obviously you have to take this with a grain of salt. This is one night out in the field, and I was in a trail shelter, which is pretty ideal when it comes to using a bivy. But that's also I think one of the strongest points of using a bivy is that it's very flexible. It allows you to use it in a trail shelter, or let's say the weather's really nice, you don't need to set up your tarp, right? I've been through that before. I won't repeat myself too much there, but yeah, bivvies are awesome if you can get over the one big elephant in the room here, which is the condensation. And that was my main motivation in designing the Dimma Bivy, is that I wanted to eliminate this problem and improve on a few other things as well. So I went back over the bivy. Here it is, right? I have the foot end because that is where I have had the most issues with condensation in the past, right? If I remember correctly, your feet sweat something like 500 milliliters each a day or something like that. Not sure if I read that or heard that, so don't quote me on that, but your feet are very sweaty. Body vapor is an issue that you need to deal with. So anyway, I took the bivy back out when I was unpacking, and I felt it again, and it was still dry. So I wanted to just reconfirm that when I got home. I felt my sleeping bag. My sleeping bag was a bit damp. I said in the last video after I felt my sleeping bag that it was dry. It felt dry at the time, so I'm not sure if that was from any moisture I doubt any moisture got in my pack. So what I think happened is there was still some vapor that was left in the down, in the insulation, right? And then when it was like stuffed and packed, and then I brought it back out, then that some of but it was not that much, right? It was definitely drier than it would have been had I not used a bivy. However, that being said, the event material does breathe like really well, but the Escape Bivy light that I have, which I've written about, I'm a big fan of that. So far nothing has been able to beat that. That has been the most breathable and the most dry as far as keeping my sleeping bag and clothing dry. If you're looking to keep just warmer and drier, that I highly recommend the SOL Escape Bivy Light. And I'm not sponsored by Borah, by SOL, by anybody, right? Yeah, so that's a great bivy. But we're talking about the Dimma, right? Now, the two tile-out points, unfortunately, not much to say about that because I was just lazy and tired. There was quite a bit of snow left out on the trail, so I had to do, it was up to at the deepest snowdrifts, there was some up to my shins, not quite up to my knees, but that wasn't most of it. I would say most of the snow I encountered, the majority was like up to my ankles, so it was a bit more work than usual hiking, right? But the space in this bivy is probably the biggest thing that I noticed as far as the other bivvies I use. It's huge. On and look in the description below for the link to my first impressions, of course. And also the other video, right? But if you take a look at my other Borah bivy, the Cuban bivy, and this bivy next to each other, This one, it looks much bigger. And when I took the picture, I thought, oh, well, that one's closer to the camera. And for what it's worth, yeah, it's closer to the camera, so it's going to look bigger, right? But inside, it was, wow, like quite a difference. Like I could store gear, like a fair amount of gear inside, right? I had a lot of space inside. But like I said, I did not use the tie-out points, and that is why I mentioned in my last video there were a few ice crystals in the netting from when when it was resting on my face. But other than that, there's so many different fabrics here. Bear with me. The argon fabric, as far as I could tell, out in the field and back home, dry. The underneath, right? I was in a trail shelter, of course, and I used a ground cover, so that's, dry. The event dry, and I felt the inside and the outside. The hood has got plenty of space in the hood. The zipper is easy to use. I added a few tie-outs. That was it. It didn't come with any tie-outs. I just added just a bit of cordage there for the tie-outs. It's easy to get out of. And I noticed too, because it's also bigger, it's easier to get out of, but the zipper may go a little further down than before. But yeah, super happy with this. I'll try and get a lot of good use out of this. But yeah, that's about it. It's a bivy is a very simple and elegant shelter option, right? So there's not much else to really say about it. You throw it down, you put your sleeping pad, your sleeping bag in there, and yeah, you're good to go, especially in a trail shelter. But I would really like to use this along with my tarp, especially in harsh conditions. I'm no stranger to rain, and I don't shy away from rain. I cannot really. I live in Sweden, and so it rains quite a bit here, right? So there will be some more, use of this, in heavy rain, and I'd like to see how that fares, right? Yeah. I guess one last thing too is I've gotten some good reports over on the Reddit ultralight forums. I was initially concerned about the silicone impregnated polyester. There we go. Yeah, sil poly. But other people, because the bottom is in sil poly, is also used for the snowy side bivy that Borah also makes, and people have said some good things about the durability, so no issue there. And it feels, yeah, like I said before, it feels like silicone nylon, really. It's smooth. It's easy to get my sleeping mat in and out, and yeah. All right, that's about everything I can think of, right? So here it is, Borah Dimma, or in Swedish with an accent, Dimma. And ironically, when I went out, there's plenty of that. There was fog all day today, right? But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this is helpful. If this looks like something that may help you, yeah, order it from Borah. I'll put a link to Borah's website if you want to check it out. And again, no affiliation. They were just, kind enough to let me design something that I thought would be effective. If you're in a wet area, I guess Pacific Northeast in the U.S., Scotland, Scandinavia, right? This could perhaps come in handy for you. All right. And I guess I should show off the central feature, which is the net in the middle, right? That lets your body vapor get out of there, right? Okay. Take care.